wanted to come to Savannah since 2011 when I found out about how magical it was and that it was one of the only places not destroyed by the Civil War. So thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for having me. I really wanted to come hang out with you, and I've done so much today. I got in last night. I've hit up the Sentient Bean. I hit up the vegan place next door. I got a matcha latte from the Fox something. What's that one? Yeah, all y'all know that one. Where did we go this morning? We went to Local last night, deFINE Beats. They had amazing beats there. The waiter who's here, right? Troy, are you here? Where is he at? He's a designer. He told me his whole story. Yeah, there he is. Troy was like, do you like beats? I was like, is this some sort of drumming trick question? He's like, nah, like just normal beats. I was like, yeah, I love them. He's like, okay, I'm going to feed you some beats for your appetizer. I said, the South is so welcoming. Thank you. So I had some beats last night. Then we went to the Legion next door. I've been killing it, man. I've been killing it. So fun to be here in Savannah this evening. Thank you for having me. So I think what I'd like to do is just find out who's in the audience. Are you a student here? Raise your hand. If you're an undergrad, let's start with the undergrads. Okay. Wow. So smart to go to art school, by the way. So smart to go to art school. You're already killing it, light years ahead of the game. And it feels nice for me to be here with fellow artists. You know, I don't think I've ever given a talk to fellow artists, which is equally intimidating as well as fantastic at the same time, because it's like your peers, you know? Everyone sort of, we're all artists together. So I'll share with you the little bit of gems that I've learned, but I hope that you'll hang out with me afterwards and also tell me about where you're at as well. Who's a master's student here? Who's a master's student? Raise your hand. Yeah, a couple of master's students. They're busy. They're like, this Madame Gandhi talk. But so those of you who joined, thank you for coming. Wonderful. And then professors, those who are associated with the university as educators, thank you so much for coming. It really is such an honor to be on this stage with you. And then other those who are sort of part of the university at large in other roles and also in the community, raise your hand. Is that everybody else? Is that everybody else? Wonderful. Well, thank you for bringing us all together. I think what I'd like to do is share my story with you, because I think you'll understand maybe a little bit better how I think and some of the lessons that I've learned along the way. And then I'm just going to play some electro-feminist music for you and call it a day. Does that work? Is that approved? Okay. So I grew up in New York City. Yes. Did you come from New York City? Who just screamed? Yeah. Did you come from New York City? You're from, where did you grow up? Queens, amazing. I grew up in Manhattan, and it's so, are you a student? I didn't see which one. Oh, awesome. Right, so we'll have to figure out where to go tonight. We'll be the visitors. Yeah. Y'all will help us out. It's my birthday, you know. Y'all gotta tell me where to go tonight. So I grew up in New York City, and I grew up to two Indian parents who had come from India and immigrated to New York. And I was the first of three kids. And I always loved music. I loved it so much. And when I was 8 years old, my family had sent me to a summer camp. It was a camp in Maine, you know, for fishing and like kayaking or whatever, like camp stuff. And, and you know, that about 2 weeks before I had been sent to the camp, I snuck in to my parents' bedroom, and they were watching Jaws, you know, just some random film. My younger brother and sister were too young to understand what it was, but I was watching Jaws. I was completely petrified, okay? I was so scared of sharks. And so then I went to the camp, and I found out that every afternoon, the students have to swim in the lake, okay? It's a required activity, okay? I was not trying to swim anywhere, okay, for a minute. So when all the kids had gone to go either kayak or swim or whatever their lake choice activity was, I snuck away. Okay, this is day one. And I was like, they're never gonna find me in the theater cabin. That's the opposite of swimming in my brain, okay? So I just posted up in the theater cabin, and there was a drum set there. So I said, I'm just gonna peacefully sit at the drums, and you know, I'm sitting down, my legs hit the ground. But when I was 8, my legs didn't hit the floor. You know, I was sort of dangling on the drum. Now, there was a maintenance man in the corner. For sure, I thought this maintenance man was going to turn me in. You know, it's the lake for you, little 8-year-old. It's the lake for you. Turns out he was a drummer, okay? He was a drummer. So he's like, let me show you how it's done. So he lowers the stool for me, you know? He shows me, you take one stick in one hand, you take one stick in the other hand, and he showed me how to play the drums. And I was obsessed. And every afternoon, I would just keep coming back to him. I'd keep coming back. And the camp was okay with it, because as long as the kid is chaperoned, they don't really care what the hell you do, just something. You know, it's like, they're taken care of. They're not going to get hurt. And so that's how I found the drums, you know. And I loved it because obviously I never saw that many women drumming. I loved the power in that. I loved the rebelliousness. I had been playing the piano in these sort of like oppressive piano lessons for so long before. It was like classic tiger parent style, you know, like classical piano, like, you know, you're gonna get smart playing the piano. And in the piano, if you hit the wrong note, the song is now wrong. But in drums, they don't give a shit whether you hit this cymbal, that cymbal. It works. You know, it's like, it works. Am I allowed to say the S word? Is that allowed? See, I actually told my manager, I was like, I want to give a talk where I don't curse. I use it for emphasis, just to be emphatic. But I also want to sound, you know, I want to sound clean, focused. So I'm going to try to omit the curse words. Try is the key word. So I learned the drums. I learned the drums, and I loved it. It was so addictive. I loved the power of it. And you know, as a kid in New York City, it was my entry point into the music world. And growing up in a city, there were so many opportunities to play. I'd be 15 years old playing with bands. They'd put big X's on my hands because I wasn't 21, but they let me into the bar to play. You know, it was so cool. And my exposure and my growing up and my seeing the world was through my art, was through my drumming. And I loved that, you know, I loved that. I think sometimes as artists, it feels good to be hungry for what other people are doing and participating in other arts culture because we do it ourselves. So we have a lens through which to connect. But you know, as I grew up, I kind of got the sense from my parents that the drumming, especially from my dad, he was like, this is a good, diverse extracurricular to get you into a good school. That was more the vibe. And I picked up on that as I got older. I was like, oh, this is just you recognizing this is some cool other thing, you know? So my parents were very involved in giving back in political activism. I grew up in Eleanor Roosevelt's house in New York City. It was beautiful. There was so much history there. My mom especially, she was so good at preserving every last, you know, little molding of Eleanor Roosevelt's history. And we have so many beautiful photos and handwritten letters from her hanging in our home. And so my parents really raised us to give back, to say, be politically active. And for that reason, I applied to Georgetown. It was in DC. It had an extraordinary, you know, political science and international relations program. And I got in, you know, so I went out there. But music at Georgetown is a farce. Music at Georgetown is the definition of a farce. It was like the Guild of Bands, you know, and you had to sign up as a class to play the drums. It's like, no, that's not how it works. You don't play the drums at 10 in the morning. Like, that's not the vibe. You like get inspired and then you go whenever, you know. So my first 2 years of Georgetown, while I loved being, you know, in the classroom, I feel like my head was inspired, but not my heart, you know, not my heart. And I felt kind of excluded. It was a bit of like a bro vibe. You feel me? It was kind of like very football oriented, and I felt excluded from it. And the other thing I'll say too, in the spirit of being honest and vulnerable, is like, I grew up in New York City where we would host the parties. I would be DJing them and like 15 years old, 16 years old. And so then you go to Georgetown, they have these frat parties, right? And I got my friends, I'd be like, why are we going to this? And the girls, especially who I was living with in the dorm, they'd be like, oh, well, you know, free beer, free alcohol. I'm like, free alcohol? Alcohol is so cheap, we can buy our own damn alcohol and have a better party, come on. Why are we going to this? And we'd always be shivering outside, and the like bros kind of like frat culture, like, you can come in, but your friend can't. Get the fuck out of here, I'm out. Like, nah. Like, we're freezing our asses off. We're making your party cool. Anyway, so that was our 2 years, the first 2 years at Georgetown. And it was fine. I loved my classes, but I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel happy. And in the third year, a wonderful thing happened, which is that I started spending more time out in the city. And do any of you know this DJ duo, Thievery Corporation? Yeah, you know that. Wonderful. I think the best known song they have is Lebanese Blonde. And Lebanese Blonde was sort of it was in the Garden State soundtrack, and Thievery's been touring forever. They've been 20, 25 years a band. And I found out that they were DC local. And not only that, they had this old embassy building that they had turned into a lounge about 10 years before I had gotten to Georgetown. And it was just extraordinary. The first floor you go in, it smells like incense. It has this like dim, beautiful red lighting. It's like an old townhouse. You go to the second floor, there was a reggae band playing, who later I found out was the touring band with Thievery Corporation on the road. The third floor has a jazz band. Back patio has a DJ. I mean, I was like, what is this place, And everyone was represented, and they were playing Jamaican music, French music. It was like the world I wanted to live in, And the music wasn't oppressive. I listened to so much trap music because I love to dance with it, but that shit is so oppressive. You listen to the music, everybody used to be dancing to Soulja Boy. I'm like, if only y'all knew what that meant. If only y'all knew what y'all were dancing to. I hate that part of it. But when I went to this lounge, I felt, wow, this is amazing. This is truly amazing. And when I was in the front row of the band playing, the reggae band, I was really staring at the conga player, because I loved so much the congas, the drums. And after a couple of weeks of me coming every Wednesday to see the band, I got invited to sit in. They said, you keep staring at the drummer. Do you want to play a little bit? I said, hell yeah, I want to play. It would be amazing. And I was like 19, 20 at the time. I was so grateful. These are my idols. I was so grateful. And so I remember sitting in, and it became church. It became church. I would go every Wednesday. They would let me sit in. I would bring friends to come and hang out. And that whole year really shaped me. And not only that, but the brothers in the band, they really helped me come of age as a musician. They helped me feel like it was a legit identity. And you kind of, as a musician, as an artist, we go through a period of growth where I used to say, I play the drums. I play percussion, I play the drums. To, I'm a drummer. This is my identity. I'm leading with that identity. And even today at 28, I say, I'm a drummer whose mission is to elevate and celebrate the female voice, because that's how I identify. I'm a drummer. And that's what happened for me in DC. And so I used to play all over town. It was awesome. It was my ability to be artful. And so I would enjoy the classes in Georgetown, but I wouldn't be social over there. I'd be social in a scene that felt welcoming, extraordinary. After a year of playing with that crew, I got invited to fill in for the drummer at Bonnaroo. So I was 21 and playing that summer at Bonnaroo, Thievery Corporation. I mean, it was a total dream. I couldn't believe it. I was so grateful. And towards the end of this talk, I want to tell you some gems I learned, because definitely that period of my life taught me so much. And for the undergrads especially, being here in SCAD is so amazing, especially because it's not that circle campus where you never leave. And there's benefit to that. The Jesuits used to always get mad when I say I leave all the time. They're like, there's a reason there's a wall. It's for all y'all to meet each other and stuff. I said, I understand. I do that in the classroom. But there's so much here in Savannah because of this wonderful bubble that y'all live in, and so many incredible international energies coming in. So being able to be out in the city, I think is extraordinary. So at the end of that time period, I had a bit of a crossroad, right? I had graduated political science, and my dad really wanted me to apply for the White House internship. Thank God Obama was at least in the White House, so it was a good option. It was a good option. And he was really pushing that on me. And I didn't have an alternative, but I didn't want that. Obviously, it's prestigious, and obviously being political is a wonderful thing, but I didn't want that. And I remember I used to Google alumni in LA. Alumni in LA, the music capital, in my opinion. There's so much going on there. At least the music industry is there. And I found one alum who worked at a record label, Interscope Records, and I really hit him up. I really hit him up hard. I was like, dear Justin, my name is Kiran Gandhi, and I'm a senior. He's basically like, delete 3 times until finally the fourth one, he's like, all right, I'll give you a call. And so in April of my senior year, everyone, a lot of kids have their stuff ready. Consultants, bankers, they have their stuff ready, They're the kids like on the treadmill, really killing it, like that kind of type A style. They're amazing. I always felt insecure compared to them. This is how Atomic Living was born. I'll tell you about that later. But I remember I begged Justin for a job. And he said, listen, we can't give you a job, but we can give you an internship. I said, oh God, how the hell am I going to tell my parents that I've graduated from Georgetown University with an internship in music? Okay. They were going to be real mad. So I did that. I moved out to LA with just this internship in my pocket. And it was at Interscope. And Interscope is dope. It's Kendrick Lamar, it's Lana Del Rey, it's Black Eyed Peas, Maroon 5. I mean, all these wonderful, it was MIA, it was all these wonderful artists who I loved. So I moved out there. And I tell my dad this to this day. I said, Papa, sometimes when you call to trouble me, I'm not going to take your calls. Okay, I'm just not going to take them. Oh my God, someone's calling me now. I was like, that'd be crazy if it was him. He called me already during the sound check, so it's not him. But I said, Papa, sometimes I'm not going to take your calls if they're oppressive. I told him that. Because he used to call me so much, what are you doing? What's the next move? Are they paying you? Are you going to get a job? In my head, I'm a successful, passionate, talented person. I'm going to get that for myself. Just give me a second. You know, give me a moment. I'm figuring it out. I'm not a fuck up. I'm not a failure. But it's not happening just yet, but it will happen. I know it. And so I'm working at Interscope that summer, taking fewer calls from my parents while I figure this out. This is so real, so real. And we love them. Parents only want the best for us. They only want the best for us. And so they tend to guide us the more risk-averse paths. You're preparing them early because y'all went to art school. You know, you're already killing it, so that's good. You're already telling them from now, like, get ready. So I'm there in Interscope, and the head of digital marketing, she finds out that one of the interns in the program is a math major. And I had done my major in mathematics at Georgetown. She calls me into her office. She said, what is a math major doing here? What's going on? Well, you couldn't get the job at the hedge fund. Like, what's your story? You know? I said, listen, I love music. I'm so happy to be here. Math is, I'm so sorry. I thought it was actually a bad thing. I was like, no, I did a lot of music stuff. I took music classes. I thought it was against me. She said, no, listen. We have just signed on with Spotify. Spotify has just come in to the US. It was 2011. We get all this data dump in Excel spreadsheets of information from our artists. We get information about how many streams are happening with Kendrick Lamar's new record, what's going on with Gaga, what's going on with French Montana, with all these different artists. And they literally just forward the emails to me in the digital marketing department, and I have no bandwidth to figure this out. You're a millennial. You have a math degree. I'm going to start forwarding you these emails. And this was my opportunity. So I started receiving all these emails, and I started figuring out internally what's a good barometer. When Kendrick Lamar puts an album out, should we see 500 streams on Spotify? Should we see 200,000? What's a good number? They didn't even know. Record labels were still analyzing music based on record sales. No one was buying CDs, so every time, of course, we were failing, right? If back in the day, diamond and platinum means you're selling millions and 10 millions of CDs, in 2011, when the best everyone's doing is like 200,000, everyone's failing, right? You're just set up to fail. The numbers are different. So my job for 2 years, and she ended up giving me a job, was to analyze these numbers deeply in Spotify. And I was working in music, and I was so grateful. It was a fun life in LA. You know, I would just number crunch all day, and I'd go home and practice the drums. It was a fun life. So I did that for 2 years after graduating, and I felt proud of it. I felt proud because no one in my family worked in music. I had wanted it. I felt like I earned it. I felt so grateful, and I worked my ass off. Like, I'd work till like 10, midnight number crunching, because I wanted it to be good. Yeah, I wanted it to be good. So that happened. Then, after 2 years, you kind of are like, well, what's next? You know, what's the next move? And there was not like another analyst position that I could become in Interscope. And I also recognize the fact that labels, they provide some value, but there's definitely lots to be criticized. And I said, what's my next move? And I said, I have a passion for business. I love being on the industry side. I'm good at it. I enjoy it. I want to get my business degree. What if I can get a flexible graduate degree in business and come back to the music industry as someone who can be innovative in it instead of following the old path? There's so much work to be done in music industry side of things. But then I also was like, dang, man, I'm a drummer. All my friends are traveling the world playing the drums, playing the flute, playing whatever. I want to play the drums. And so I'll never forget. I'm going to tell you this story. How much time? Yeah, okay, we're okay so far. I'm going to tell you this story. So MIA was in a product meeting at Interscope, okay? And I remember my boss getting off of her seat to go to the meeting. And I grab her like sleeve. I'm like, Brooke, can I come to the meeting with you? And she's like, yes, but do not say anything. And I was like, okay. So I get out of my seat. I'm 23 at the time. I follow her to the meeting. And like, there's MIA, like casual, with like a crazy outfit, like smiley face, like tights, and like Indian shirts. And it was just amazing. I was like, I was such a fan, you know, I was such a fan. And so we had this amazing meeting. She's about to put her record out, okay, her next record. And I I'm just so happy. She leaves the meeting. And then just kind of as a joke, I say to her product manager, I'm like, you know what MIA's show could really use? A drummer. And really someone who's female, someone who's Indian, you know, young, passionate, looks the part. I didn't have blonde hair at the time, but I had like crazy long curly hair, so it worked. And she's like, all right, listen, if you're for real, send me a video. So I quickly got my friends together, we cut a video of me drumming to MIA stuff, and I sent it along. Within 24 hours, I had this email in my inbox, and the title of the email, the subject line, was in all capital letters, hi. It was from Maya, okay? That's her first name, Maya. She emailed me. I couldn't believe it. Okay, if someone you're a fan of emails you, you're like, you're already cool, like you're good. Okay, you're like, like I'm made, I can just live how I am, I'm good. And the email, all capital letters, okay, all capital letters, hi, we're not thinking about the tour yet. We'll hit you up when we do because this video is super dope. That's simple. I was so happy. I was like, she thinks my video is dope. It's great. It's great. So that moment happened. Okay, that moment happened. Parallel to that experience, I had been applying to business school. I applied and I got into Harvard. Okay, I got into Harvard March of 2013 to go to business school. And I was stoked. I packed up my time at Interscope. I had like a fun summer off in LA, and I was chilling, getting ready to move to Boston. And then MIA actually followed up on her email. And she was like, all right, let's do it. We want you on the tour. We're gonna go to Japan. We're gonna go to Canada. We're gonna go to the all over the US. Yo, like, I don't know, y'all musicians, like that shit was dope. I was like, Japan? Like, that's how I felt about Savannah, to be honest. I was like, Savannah, it's sick. No, really, I genuinely felt that way. Like, if you get to go to the places that you dream of going, doing the art and doing your gift, what else is there? What else is there? We're all artists in the room. That's our job, to spread joy and to spread knowledge through the work that we and only we can do. How divine, right? How amazing. And so I had a choice to make. Harvard Business School or tour with MIA. Right. And so I was having a delicious beer because I was having a mental breakdown with a mentor of mine. And you know, she just put her hand, this is like classic New York City dive bar style, we're at like a bar side by side. She just put her hand on my shoulder. She's like, you know that you're gonna have to do both, okay? And she's like, and you're gonna have to figure it out. And that's just what you have to do. Now let's just, end this beer. Drinking is probably the first thing that's gonna have to go if you wanna do both, which it did, by the way, which it did. I was so disciplined. And I started my first semester at Harvard touring with MIA. So I used to be in class, and then on a Friday, 2 p.m., I'd quickly run out of the class. We'd play Chile, okay? And I'd come back Sunday night. In Harvard Business School, okay, I thought graduate school was more lenient. Nah, like, they close the door. If you're late by 1 minute, you can't even come to the class, okay? It's so strict. That's not my style. It was so strict. It was so early in the morning, too, for God's sake. It was rough. And the worst part about Harvard Business School, they have the cold call, So, like, you come into the class. Everyone's prepared the case for business school. You come into the class, and they'll cold call you. They'll be like, what do you think? Start us off. You're like, oh, God, you hope you don't get the cold call. Anyway, my first year, the hardest one was when MIA put out the Matangi album. She put it out in November of 2013. And I'll never forget, Monday, you go to class, and then 3 p.m. shuttle, Boston Logan to New York, play the first of 5 shows. Then 4 a.m., I used to go back to the airport, Tuesday morning in Boston, do my classes, come back to New York City, play the show that night, Terminal 5, we did the record release party, back to class. And it worked, it worked. And it's not like I was hungry to hang out with fellow Harvard Business School students at the networking events with the head of Wells Fargo. Like, I was cool off that, you know what I mean? Like, it's all good. I was there in the same way as Georgetown. I was there to learn something in the class. Dang, I'm so excited to be with you. I've already definitely gone over time. Let me just try to think of how to manage my time right now for a second, because I'm so happy to just hang with you and share some thoughts. When I did that, I really felt focused. I really felt focused on my mission. I love being able to get smart by sharing information with different people, by hanging out with people in cities that I never would have dreamed of being in. by learning. And by the way, I know this is a one-directional talk, which is why we have a workshop tomorrow, okay? So if there's anything that we should chat about, you better come to that workshop and teach me something, 11 a.m. tomorrow, and to play my drums. So I did that for 2 years. It was amazing. I did the MIA tour the first year. The second year was just normal business school, which is why I started writing my own music. I started performing as Madame Gandhi. I love Madam. I love the sentiment of like Madam President. I love the idea of celebrating female leadership. I still think we have so little of it in the world to even look to. We don't even know the potential of female leadership. We really don't. I'd love to see more of it. It's such an honor that President Wallace is here. She came and hung out with me backstage as well for a second. Like, that kind of leadership is extraordinary. And I wrote my first album. Yeah, hell yeah. And I wrote my first record, which came out a couple months ago, called Voices. Voices is the culmination of my passions. It's the culmination of my desire to elevate and celebrate the female voice, which I think is not as heard as often as it should be. It's my passion for the drums. It's some singing. And it's some sound design, electronics on Ableton. I went to the sound design, what is it, studio? What do you guys call that building? Ian, what do we call that building? Where's he at? He was here earlier. Hamilton, thank you. It was extraordinary. It was so cool. And so it has a lot of that in my music as well. I think I'm going to take a moment to share some lessons I learned along the way, especially as someone who really believes that artists, we need to know something about business. We better know something about business or everyone will exploit us. Fact. And here's one good thing about being an artist. You can disagree with me and you better come and tell me tomorrow if you do, but I really feel like I don't think we need to be like rich and like extra, I don't think we need all that. I think our job is to just get by. I really do. I do. I think we need to just live within our means. And if you have the materials to make your work, if you have wonderful people to hang out with on your birthday, if you have wonderful food, nice house, like comfortable, I think your job is really just to make the most genuine and honest art you can make. Just make the most genuine and most honest art you can make. And you let the world decide what to do with it. If it's honest, it will work. I really believe that. If it's honest, it'll work. And I was happy to go to Harvard Business School, the breeding ground of the capitalist patriarchy. Okay. Because we have to fight fire with fire. We have to fight fire with fire. We have to know what the fuck we're even up against. Right. And I went through it so that I can be on the stage and share with you what I've learned. I think that business gets a bad reputation. I think at its core, business is the exchange of value. You have something wonderful that you're good at. I have something wonderful that I'm good at. What if we got together and made something even more extraordinary that's greater than us individually? It's this idea that we are linked and not ranked, contributing value to each other. I think that's an extraordinary thing. Even with artists, half the time we don't get paid, majority of the time we don't get paid for our stuff, but everyone's like, but I'll feed you and put you up, and we're like, okay, dope, great. One less thing I have to think about, Exchange of value, I think it's a good thing. I think business got a bad reputation when it became exploitative, when it became a game, when we used to go to countries and conquer them and say, instead of valuing whatever this thing is, how much can we exploit from it? If it costs $5, is the way I can trick them into paying only $1 for this thing that's really, the cost is $5 and I can actually afford $5? To me, that's where it went wrong. When I was on the MIA tour, she used to always talk about triangles, the problem with hierarchy. It's a social construct. And it's only in recent history that we have lived in such a way that there's certain hierarchies instead of us recognizing that every person has something of deep value. So I'm just going to share with you some quick lessons, and then I'll just get on with the drum. That's what I know how to do, so keep it focused. Number one, and this is real, you better listen up if you're an artist, okay? You better listen up. You better get your phone out and write it down. You bet everyone always Instagram. Then an Instagram story is ephemeral. It's gone in 24 hours. How are you going to remember the gem? I sat in a Harvard classroom for 2 years for you to share this knowledge with you. So better write it down. Yeah. Talk about oppressive. No, I learned some stuff. Fail forward. Okay, that's number one. Fail forward. And by this I mean, I think too often we teach perfection, but we don't teach bravery. Okay? We teach perfection, we don't teach bravery. I have been on a stage so many times with my new project where it was the worst show. But the bravery to get on the stage and fail forward, now I have data points about what needs to be fixed. Now I know that I have to perform with in-ears when I play the drums. Now I know that I have to bring my own cymbals when I play the drums. Now I know that I only want to perform with my own yellow mic when I play my shows. Now I know that I need to have a manager who has my back when I play my shows. You know, you have to fail forward. You have to be brave enough to go up there and do your thing and then keep moving. Because you see, for us artists, majority of the time it's never perfect because we're ever evolving. So then you're never going to put anything out. You have to go through the B+ stuff to get to the A+ stuff, okay? So fail forward. Be brave enough to get on a stage and give it your best shot. Number 2, do not underestimate anybody, okay? Don't underestimate anybody. So many times in my life, people who come in and come out, I watch them like, oh, wow, that is extraordinary. Don't underestimate anybody. And a sort of nesting bullet point under that is nourish the relationships in your life that matter to you. Make time for them. All that, we waste so much time, even for me, I'm trying to do better about it, man, like social media, Instagram, time on somebody else's random Instagram. Like, how do we even get here? Wasting time. I should be giving my friends a call, checking up on them. How are you? Are you okay? I love you. I'm here for you. Of course I have time for you. Nourish those relationships and don't underestimate anybody. Number 3, trust your intuition, okay? Number 3 is trust your intuition. Truly, I believe that. That's atomic living. We'll have to say that for another day, maybe tomorrow. Number 4. I'm obsessed with number 4. It's the reason why I live in LA. Be alone sometimes. Spend some time alone so that you can hear yourself think, okay? What do you think? So often we Google it, okay? So often we look to others. What is that person doing? No, what do you think? What have your collective, unique experiences led you to believe about this topic? And you know, I was in this extraordinary talk, and it was so amazing. This woman was talking about how so much in our history, our human history, nomad culture, everyone had to lead by their intuition. They had to form facts on their own. But then when the Crusaders came, a lot of religion taught us to look to God, okay, for the answer. Look externally instead of internally. And we're doing the same thing with tech and Google now. We look externally for the answer instead of being like, wait a second, what do I think? And the second that we start asking ourselves, what do we think? This is the art. This is the art. All of us express ourselves in different ways. I express myself on the drums, you in a painting, you in some amazing, half the majors I don't even understand what the hell y'all do. It's so amazing. So amazing. So, what do you think? Number 5, consistency is key, okay? This idea of, I don't fear the person who does 1,000 kicks in one day. I fear the person who does 1 kick a day for 1,000 days, okay? It's the same notion of failing forward. You just keep at it, okay? And of course there's highs and lows. We're artists, for God's sake. Makes for the best art, okay? Anybody who's in a relationship and are dealing with a breakup makes for extraordinary art. All the bad helps. So you just slow by slow, you better stay with it, okay? You better stay with it. Number 6, this is good. This is good because of how we artists are. Always try to think about how to contribute joy in a situation, and it's how we'll stay employed. And what I mean by that is, a lot of us don't recognize how many employable skills we actually have, you know? I think that if we go into a situation and we say, how can I reduce the stress of this company? How can I reduce the stress of this department? How can I reduce the stress of this extraordinary sound designer I want to work for? You'll actually create so much value in that situation, they'll want to keep you around. People have asked me, how do I get a job as a sound engineer? Women especially, they'll say it's such a sexist industry. There's so many men who are running it. I said, you think men will give a shit if you go up there and start patching in all the things? I'd be like, dude, she's here to stay. It's so useful. You know what I mean? So if you go into a situation and say, how can I reduce the stress of those around me? What can I contribute? What powers do I have to make this whole thing better? you'll have a job. You'll stay employed. And then you can also do your art. Number 7, successful people are not threatened by the success of others. Don't be so threatened by your peers, especially in art school. That stuff is so competitive. We don't need to be competitive with each other. Really, 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 so it's so real. You just be your own flower. You know when a flower is there, blooming, doesn't look left and right and say, what is this flower doing? Has purple petals, dang, my petals are a little purple pink. This flower is taller. No, it's just blooming happily. Yeah, and you can bloom, and if you want to cry, you can cry, but I'm over here blooming, and that's it. Yeah. So enough is enough. You just be your own flower and get on with your art, and don't be threatened by the success of others. Get inspired and start blooming. Number 8, we talked about already, which is this idea that business is not a zero-sum game. We live in a collaborative world. Hierarchies have got to go. 9, keep promises that you make to yourself. If you say you're going to do something, do it. It builds confidence, and it builds self-love. And I'm really trying to do this. I told Steven, I'm like, tomorrow I'm going to turn 28. I'm going to grow up, and I'm going to keep promises to myself. It's an ongoing battle, but we try. And then number 10, unfortunately I said it already because I really believe it, but make the most honest and genuine art that you can make, and let the world decide what to do with it, okay? Will you do that? Are you listening? I'm about to play some honest and genuine art for you right now, okay? I'm Kieran. Thank you so much for listening. Test, test. I've been thinking about how I'm supposed to live in a world where our president has 0 bucks to give. I've been thinking about how I'm supposed to stay woke when the media every day has got my screen broke. I'll admit, man, these are dark times, but the good news is I got trouble on my mind. We got people watching all around the world, like if you threaten our rights, we gon' stand up for our girls. Hey, I heard y'all march loud and proud here in Savannah last January 21st. Make some noise. At dinner last night, my waiter Troy referenced The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood out of nowhere, okay? This song is inspired by her, and so I knew I was in the right place when that moment happened. If you feel it in the air, then I'll point her. If you want me to obey, then I'll join her. Leaving it to them, that disappoints her. We are living in a world that will spoil her. Who's the boss? We only have 10 minutes left. Should I just do 2 more songs? Is it hard out at 8? Could someone make a decision and let me know and I'll perform accordingly? Just go on. Just keep going. Sorry. Okay, I took my glasses off so I can't see what I got.
I've been singing you the Gandhi blues. All I want is to feel much better and make my way back home to you. Take me into your arms. Take me into your arms where I stand a chance. Take me into your arms. Give me your full attention. Wishing you were around, drifting on my own again. Take me into your arms, where I stand a chance. Give me your full attention. I've been singing the Gandhi blues. I own my own voice. And no, I am not afraid. I own my own story. And no, I am not afraid. I own my own body. And no, I am not afraid. And I have my own vision. So no, I am not afraid. Digga-doo-da-dum, digga-doo-da-dum-dum, digga-doo-da-dum, digga-doo-da-dum-dum. A reading from the Feminist Utopia Project. Before going out into the world, each young woman is fitted with a suit of armor. This shields her from the judgment of those who believe that her intrinsic value is solely in her looks. It renders her immune to those who wish to control her body. This armor grows and changes with her. She is given a sharp, quick sword to cut through her fears of being made to feel like an outcast for her ambition, to banish those inner demons who only want her to placate, just be a good sport and go along with it. She is also given a cell phone containing the numbers of marvelous mentors she can call at any time. I want that cell phone. Finally, she is crowned with a grand plumed helm, a big feather in her cap to remind her to never be tempted to make herself small or unseen. She will always be heard. A reading from the Feminist Utopia Project. Yeah, clap, come on. Yeah. A Trump-proof suit. That's good. We should make our own reproductive choices. It's so basic, it's so basic. I own my own voice, and no, I am not afraid. I own my own body, and no, I am not afraid. I have my own story. So no, I am not afraid. And we have our own vision. So no, we are not afraid. Thank you. This is the first song I ever wrote. I wrote it on the voice notes of my cell phone. If you want. It's called Yellow Sea. Take me up. Ooh, take me up. Ooh, take me up. Where you're mine, where we're free. All I see is lost in green, and my core breathing fantasy. And ooh, take me up to that place, to your mind, where my thoughts get caught in time, and my soul's calmest light can sleep soundly through the night. If I drop the beat, will you sing with me? If I drop the beat, will you sing with me? If I drop the beat, will you sing with me? The yellow sea around me, the yellow sea around me. listen.
But nostalgic thoughts make a young babe crazy. When I get lost, I just turn on Wazy. She always knows which way to take me. Naked where the sun rays hit me. Yeah, I see around me. If I drop the beat, will you sing with me? If I drop the beat, will you sing with me? If I drop the beat, will you sing with me? I'll see you around me. I'll see you around me.
Boom, 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 ah, boom, ah, boom, boom, ah, boom, da, 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 da. 3, 2, 1, call it. Thank you. I had the voice note that I wrote the song on, and so we put it on to the end of the track. So if you go on and listen to Yellow Sea, it's the name of that song. You'll always hear the voice note at the very end. Do you want to be involved for a second? I kind of want to involve you. I had an idea when I was singing just now. If you're down, I'd like to have the room help me recreate this song, because even though all this stuff is electronics, the truth is that majority of this stuff just comes from us, and we should be able to recreate it in any moment. And so I'd love if this side of the room can be my vocal sample. So you're team A at SCAD, amazing, hi. I'm gonna stay at the mic and walk over to you. Let's try this. So everybody from this side of the room, boom, 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 ah, boom, boom, ah, boom. Boom, 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 ah, boom, boom, ah, boom. Good, good, good. And I'm going to make them sing louder, so that then you'll have to sing louder, and we're all going to just fail forward together. You feel me? Now, this side of the room, okay, you're going to be the synth line, which goes like this. Da, 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 wait. Da, 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 da. Dope. Okay, good. A, you're B. You're awesome, you're badass. Good. Boom, 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 ah, boom, boom, ah, boom, 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 ah, boom, boom, ah, boom, 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 ah, boom, boom, da, 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 da. Da 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 da. Boom 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 ah add a snap now. Boom 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 boom. If I drum the beat, will you sing with me? If I drum the beat, will you sing with me? A yellow sea around me. Yellow sea around me, and boom 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 3, 2, 1, call it. Perfect. Woo! Good, good, good work, everybody. Good work, good work. Teamwork makes the dream work. I heard Amy Poehler speak at the White House. Her word to me hard like a light bulb. Fictitious depictions of girls must die out. If we want to live in a world that triumphs, I am just talking about loving the femme. I ain't talking about nobody else. Toxic masculinity has to end. I'm just talking about loving ourselves. You can catch me singing these words in a black, other, wild, futurist female t-shirt like a. Me, I got something to say. Gender construction just get in the way. I've been playing drums since I was like 8. The future is female and that future is great. Female. Can you turn the track up in the house a little bit? The future is female. This is the best part, right? There's power in what you say. In what you say, own your voice, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, there's power in what you say. In what you say, own your voice, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. If you stand up and dance, I'll give you a sticker. I have a whole pile of them. Come on, give me some. Give me, what you got, what you got, what you got? How could girly ever be an insult? All the women I know are ones moving culture. What would happen if we all would leave with a little less aggression, more femininity? We have to value girls more than their looks. The biggest threat is a girl with a book. The system must make room for all that we do. We've been bleeding each month till we gave birth to you. No, Scott, it was such a pleasure to be here with you. Let's live in a world that is linked and not ranked. A world that is emotionally intelligent. A future that is female. Right here, let's dance together. Y'all ready? The future is female. The future is female. It's tough to hear myself. Oh, I love you so much. I love you, I love you. Thank you. The future is female. It's all in the hips. The future is female. Thank you all so much. Thank you. I love you. Thank you to President Wallace and Storm for having me. Thank you, Ian and Sarah, for lunch this afternoon. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Thank you. That's so nice. I really appreciate it. Thank you.